Iveta, just keep an eye on anybody else coming in, and
Okay. I
can
don't think I
you don't see
have.
that? Okay, no problem. I think I see it anyway. It is almost the end of this masterclass, so thank you so much for everybody who's been joining us. John is usually here all the time, but if some of you have seen his posts on our Canadian Expat Facebook group, he is in Spain right now. He started off in Madrid, and now he's in Alicante, and it's fun to watch his pictures and all the stuff that he's enjoying there. But we are here in this Canadian winter blah month of February, and we're looking forward to spring. Before we start, Iveta and we were floored and really awestruck with the amount of people that came out on Tuesday. One of our participants was there as well. In fact, I'm just going to say her name because Diane, you are on the highlight reel that came out getting a prize. I'm going to share with you in a second what it looks like. And it was well attended. The food was great. The speakers were amazing. And a lot of good connections were made. So let me share. Okay. Okay. All right. Share. And here we go. All right. Oh, sorry. I have to stop. Okay. Um, I mean, you just saw there was like all the hands went up. There was lots of questions. Um, some of you were there in person. Thank you so much. And what really came out of that was even to the partners at Gowling and Trowbridge that work in this area, they realized how much thirst there is for these kinds of events and information because really in Canada, you have different professionals that work on like international tax and international law. And a lot of the focus in the past has been for Canadian snowbirds buying properties in Florida or Arizona or things like that. So there's a lot of support there, or at least there's some interaction between professionals. But really, there has not been that I could find some firm that tries to put it all together for outside of the US. Even IG, we are very strong. We have 10 states that we have clients in that we can speak with and advise them on and so on. There's a lot of focus on the United States, but places like Costa Rica, you know, Bali, Europe, these are places where you are really on your own for the most part. So what Yvette and I have tried to do, hopefully, uh, relatively well, is try to put together a team, slowly but surely, of trusted professionals around the world. We've started off with Spain, we're moving into Romania, now we're looking at Costa Rica. I posted something on the Canadian Expat about Bali because it came up as a screenshot. Like it's so much potential up there to help each other out. But one thing that came clear in the session was almost every question that came out was a tax related question or a residency related question. And these are great. This is what usually, people want to fix. Like they want to, what's the tax implications of this? Or how much is, how much am I going to get in my bank account? What about if I die? Like these are all really important questions. A lot of people didn't, unfortunately, fully understand the importance of putting it all together and not just like haphazardly, getting an answer and then moving forward. But I was approached by one of the partners at Gowling who was actually looking to move himself to Italy. He was there to watch it, not just for Gowling, but for himself. And he said, Serge, the accountants and the lawyers, we can answer these technical questions, but it's getting the message across to Canadians that without a proper plan, it's not going to work. You might not save enough. You might have gaps that you're not aware of because while a good lawyer and accountant will ask good questions, how many times have you done your taxes with someone just in Canada and they forgot to ask you a question? Or, you're trying to do it on your own and the software is guiding you, but you still forgot something. So it takes a village basically to put it together, is what I'm trying to say. And what I'd like to do today, um, with this second to last class, is take the opportunity to show you once again the power of a good, solid plan and why it's important, not just to answer the question of what's the taxes on interest and dividends and capital gains and residency and withholding taxes. Those are all super important, but putting it all together is what will help you sleep well at night, knowing that you've got a plan that you can follow. Okay, so let's just get started and hopefully we'll have enough time and then we're going to announce some exciting stuff for next week, which is our last class of this master class. Let me share it again. I'd like to start off by just a reminder of what we're doing here, who we worked with. So we've got here, am I
A
sharing the
long,
right
long
screen?
time,
Probably
people
not.
would plan.
Which screen am I sharing, Yvetta?
We are seeing goals and concerns.
Okay, perfect. That's exactly what I see. So we started 9 sessions ago with Mark and Mary Expat, and I apologize if I'm repeating again, but holidays happened, things happened. Some videos are not ready yet. Still, I know, don't worry. We met with someone today that was part of the masterclass but never attended, but has been watching the video. So now that just put really an importance of people are actually watching these, and it's important. Mark and Mary Expat, and by the way, people approach us at the event too, saying that is the perfect example because a lot of people related to it. They want to talk about moving to Europe, Spain in particular. They've got the kids, they feel they're okay, but there's always this kind of underlying like, is it going to be okay? Is the plan going to work? They've talked with some account, they figured out there's withholding taxes and so on and so forth. They've discussed residency, whether they're going to be in Canada or not. I mean, they have the rental condo, so does that give them residency or not? Questions came up during the session from a few people saying, I want to keep residency in Canada, but I want to live somewhere else. How does that work? So all these discussions we went through with them and we identified what they're looking to do. Basically, uh, wanting to plan for a retirement for Mark and Mary when Mark is about 60, which coincides with Tina finishing her university. Zach is going to be on his way making his millions with side gigs and all that stuff, and just really enjoying travel from Europe. So what we then did was, as a reminder, we didn't have this filled out before, but we filled it out for you to see how it works. And by the way, Yvette and I, we've already gotten about 7 meetings booked with people that were at the event that wanted to go through this process, which by the way is complimentary. There's no charge involved with this. And this is what we take them through. Like we actually go through this and fill in some basic details to gather their information. So, their names, their phone numbers, their emails, and then their incomes. Doesn't have to be to the penny, but it has to be something pretty close. So, and you might be surprised. I know how much I make, but sometimes when I ask people, what's your income? A lot of people, believe it or not, even I can say, I'm not sure. Let me think about it. Or there's like, what's my biweekly that goes into my bank account? I can tell you what that is, and so on. So, whatever it is, let's get that on paper, from air to paper. So for them, this is their monthly net income. So their monthly gross, and their monthly net, and they're making 10,875. Now, from this, a basic calculation that we did from a cash flow planning. We didn't fill out all these. We did a separate way I'm going to show you on the software. But basically, with the expenses that they have monthly currently in Canada, while their kids are still going to school, while they have the mortgage, the property taxes, all that stuff currently is, and savings into the RRSPs and TFSAs and all that, that's 7,200 if they're telling the truth, if they haven't forgotten something like spending an extra $1,000 at Costco once a month or something like that. So if that's true, then they have liquid 3,675 extra per month that now we can work with. If they didn't have that, that's fine. It's not a problem because it's more important when we have Canadians looking to retire in Canada and we say, okay, well, would we have anything extra that, to kind of suffice? But if you're moving to a place like Spain or somewhere else, we don't know what exactly your expenses might be. In fact, our discussions so far with people, even with people going back to their home country, they're not sure what it's going to cost them because things have changed since they've left. So it might take a year to just figure that out. But the more buffer there is now, like we could help to save more because Mark and Mary, they still got 5 years still left. I mean, 3,000 uncommitted a month can go definitely a long way in helping to support purchasing their property or saving for the rainy day or so on and so forth. And I'll show you how we use that to plan for them. So then we have the kids and their ages. We've got their joint savings. We have their information about their mortgage. One of the topics of discussion, it's perfect for Mark and Mary because they're not going to break their mortgage before it matures. In their plan, their mortgage is maturing about a year before they're planning to leave. It's almost like perfect because they can actually cancel the mortgage or take a 1-year mortgage if they want to stay in the home or an open mortgage. Of course, the rate will be higher, no questions asked, or they can decide, like we've discussed, to sell their home and rent until they've moved off into the sunset. So these are all options available for them. In other cases where we met with people, they're going to have to pay at least a 1-year penalty. And that 1-year penalty needs to be also put into the cash flow and the expenses of selling and moving and closing, right? So, because that 1-year penalty, if it's a hefty penalty, could be thousands of dollars depending on the size of the mortgage. And these are not incidentals. Like if it's a 1 or 2 thousand, that's not a problem. But if it's 10,000, 15,000, that's not a small sum to not worry about. So um, nothing else in terms of asset of liabilities. They have the joint non-registered. There are lists of TFSAs and RRSPs. So they've done pretty well. They've done a good job. They didn't pay off their mortgage. It's still there, but having 2 kids and still saving and so on, they've got a pretty good net worth of 2.39 million. On the asset sides, this includes the home of estimated 1.5 and then minus the debt 2.203 million. So this is a tool. This is a very powerful tool, and we will email this to you tomorrow morning at the latest for you to have again in case you've lost it. I believe we sent it before. I encourage you all to use this for yourself. Go through it and get your own net worth. Put it all on paper somewhere that you can take a look at it to know what you've got to work with. Okay. And this is by no means like an end. We're never going to offer this, but everybody in this masterclass, I promise you, and I'm offering you this without even if you become a client or not, because we are looking for new clients all the time. But whether or not you decide to become a client, if you submit this to us, we will run a draft basic plan for you, like I'm going to show you for Mark and Mary Expat, so that you can either look it in the face and be scared that it's not going to happen. This dream I thought is going to happen is not going to happen unless I do something about it, which might be something like saving an extra bit per month. Or, well, you know what? When you get the answer that it can happen, guess what? It's not over. I have the answer that it can happen for me. Does that mean I'm sleeping well at night? I mean, I'm comfortable, but it's still jumping and doing it because there's always that emotional thing. It's we talked from the beginning, emotional, financial, logistical, right? The thing is, I know that now that I have it in front of me and I vetted it with other financial planners at my firm that are supposed to go through the software with us to make sure we haven't missed something, then I can show my wife and we're comfortable. Now, why we're still working? Because we're crazy. I don't know. We just want to keep on working and we love what we do. For us, basically, our parents are still alive. So what would happen if the parents need more additional support? So these are important things that I highly, highly encourage you. If you haven't already done this, use this, fill it out. If you have questions, give us a call. You know, you have our phone numbers, you have our emails. We're here to help in any way. Don't forget about the wills, RESPs, when you plan to retire, what you think you might be spending. In this case, they wanted 10,000 a month, not because you're going to spend 10,000 a month, just that buffer of security and safety. And like, if they would have said you want to have 4,000 a month, well, then they're maybe tied to just that. Like they're not afraid to go to a restaurant, for example, if, for example, it doesn't work out. But with the buffer of 10,000, if that works, then they feel more comfortable. All right, let me just take a quick look to see. I know you've had you don't have, do you see if there's questions? There's no
No,
questions.
nothing yet, but please participate if anyone has any questions or remarks or you want anything changed, especially in the next part once we go back into the planning software. That's where
Perfect.
the magic happens.
Okay, so let me stop sharing for a second, just in case I don't want to share any private, confidential client information as I open up um, our software here. Okay, Mark and Mary. Okay, here we go. Start to share. Okay, so you should see a bunch of colored balls here.
Yep.
All right, or circles. What you see across the top is that with taking the raw data that I just provided you and then implementing specific recommendations like how much more to save, whether there's enough, when to downsize, whether there's enough to buy that $400,000 Canadian home in Spain in 2030. All that stuff there, when we first started, they weren't all achievable. So, for example, let me take retirement, for example, and highlight it. Oh, I got to go to the planning part. So, in the retirement part, um, we've got several options here that you see that I'm not, it's kind of small, so maybe you
They
don't
are
see.
small. Yeah.
All right, but basically, everything here with a check mark are recommendations over and above what they're already doing that increases the amount of money in their pockets for retirement. If I'm unchecking these numbers, you can see how this number starts going down. So everything that we've done, so this is the initially when they came and they said, "Can we do this?" Yeah, you can do it, but don't forget you're going to run out of money at some point down here. So, not everybody is worried about that. In fact, I don't know how many clients tell me, I'm not going to live to the age 90. That's fine. Well, what if you do?
Mm.
What if you do, right? So, 90% is not a bad number because you're pretty close and we're adults. So, what do we do when inflation goes up? We tighten our belts. But is that a nice retirement? Is that a nice lifestyle? So of course we can all do it. We could all probably just today just really go frugally and see what happens. But why not try to make it 100%? And sometimes we can't do it. Sometimes it's just not possible. Sometimes a lot of work has to be done in terms of either saving or getting rid of debt. Maybe debt is the first thing we have to worry about and get rid of. But in this case, We don't have to worry about that. We just have to make some adjustments, like delaying CPP to age 70, right? Delaying old age security to age 70, using the pension credit. So this is something that a lot of people are not aware of. If we convert RRSPs to RIFs, and you start taking money out of that, and your age of accessing this credit, the first 2,000, you get a tax credit against it too. So this is the power of the financial planning that puts together the tax information and the legal information so that instead of being running out of money, so we've got the recommended is the light teal blue and the current is the dark blue. So currently, if nothing changes, we're running out of money. With some recommendations, we look like we're going to be a good. Now, is this a guarantee? No. There's no guarantee in life, especially when we're like, we don't know if we'll be hit by a bus tomorrow. We don't know if something's going to happen. We don't know if the markets go up or down. Yesterday, the markets went down. Today, the markets went up, right? And that's part of our job to also ensure that there's other stress tests along with knowing how much you're going to spend, that we can protect our clients as best as possible, but life is going to happen. And there's nobody to blame for that. It's just things might happen. Maybe you're going to be somewhere in a new country and you have to go to the hospital and there's additional medical bills. And if we haven't built that into the plan, then you're going to be taking from your savings. So these are things that normally, if you're in Canada, like a lot of the now Canadians that are looking to be expats, they might not be looking for a full expatriate experience, like leave Canada. Like a lot more people I'm talking about, some are still going to go and leave, but some are thinking maybe it's a bit complicated. I'll just keep ties with Canada and come back and forth and travel a bit and so on and so forth. My kids are still here. I just want to keep those ties. Whatever it is, if you're in Canada, we can 100% review and update and make changes and so on. Once you're out of Canada, though, this is your plan, and we want to make it as autopilot as possible, I would say. Like, make sure that there's not any major changes that you'd have to do while you're outside of the country that will be making very difficult without buying a plane ticket to come back. We didn't really highlight, we talked a little bit about if you're continuing to invest, how to do it using portfolio solutions, but many people just leave and they've got a basket of stocks and a basket of ETFs and a basket of mutual funds. And then when they need the money and they call their banker, like, well, I can't give you, like, we got 10 funds to choose from. I don't know where to send you money from, and you're not here, so I can't really have much of a discussion. You have to tell me what to get the money from. Like, that's basically what they will say. You, Iveta, and Calpe, you tell me which one of your funds to sell, and I'll send you the money. But I can't give you any advice. That's the stick. That's the unfortunately the pickle that everybody will be in unless you plan in advance so that you know for that 1 year you're going to be there. We've got that cash wedge strategy. If a year is what we want, where here's cash, you have access to it. Don't worry about the markets. They're going to go up and down. In the meantime, you're going to be good for a year. And then after that, when you need money, we hopefully have a portfolio solution that it's in your risk profile that will be automatically rebalanced for you by professionals without you having to worry about what's happening with the Trump tariffs. I mean, I
Mhm.
really want to push this. We've had a lot of calls in the past 2 days, and it's almost like like it's perfect timing because we got a communication from our head office on Sunday. They sent us an email on Sunday about the trade war and what they think is going to happen. And they calmed us all down, basically saying, for all of your clients in our portfolio solutions, we are watching and tactically moving money based on what we think will be happening. And they're moving money out of the US. I mean, they're feeling that the money to be made and please, okay, I have to be careful. Do not take this as investment advice in this class. I don't know your situations. Do not say you heard it from Serge here, folks. Talk with your financial advisor if you have it, or give us a call. But I want to underline that whatever firm it's with, if you've got a discretionary portfolio manager, they are watching it on our behalf. All right. And they are making the moves automatically without having to confer with us. Hey, Joe, what do you think we should do? They just do it because they're watching it. Um, so that's a really important thing to consider. Now that we've talked with Mark and Mary, we've explained, we've gone through all this. They're very happy with everything. Something happened to the education here. This was 100% before. I'm not sure what happened.
It's okay. Let them deal with it
We'll
themselves.
deal with it. Okay. They're gonna work through, they're gonna pay their all ass. We're
Yeah,
gonna
let
make
them
them
pick.
work for it, right?
Serge, do you
So,
mind just, if you don't mind highlighting back? So all these figures, just to reconfirm for our guests, obviously there are reports that we can show where first of all, the income is going to be coming from, and it
yeah.
is based on the most tax advantageous way. So it might be a little bit from your RIF, little bit from TFSA, maybe some from T-series funds, whatever, different structure. So that is part of the plan. Now, if we can highlight the inflation, we did account for inflation in this plan.
Yeah.
So 10,000 today is not going to be obviously 10,000 tomorrow. Hence, the plan accounts the inflation. I believe in our plan here, it is on average 3%, right?
No, so
Serge.
that's good thing to bring up though. We did do a stress test. So let's go and show you, for example, because inflation is tamed according to the Bank of Canada. We're back
Mhm.
in the historical range. That doesn't mean that the prices have gone down. It just means that they shouldn't be expected to rise as quickly as they did during the pandemic, which was incredibly fast.
Yeah.
Um, but so normally historical inflation, and this is something that we can adjust,
Uh,
but basically what we
yeah.
have, we do assume it's 2.2% historical.
So what if
Now,
we change it to 3? How will it affect
perfect.
the plan?
Okay, good question. So we don't typically change it here. We can. Uh, some people have asked us to do it here, but what we like to do is keep historical, and then go to a stress test and say a what if analysis. And in this case, we've done a what if analysis with inflation being higher and saying that the settings are, well, we didn't do 3%, we did 0.25. So what do we have to do? We have to do 0.8. Done. So if it's 0.8%, if we believe it's 3% inflation, then this means that the buying power is not going to be sufficient over the decades. So if the belief by our client is that it will be that much, then we have bad news for them. They need to save more, or we
Mhm,
have to delay their retirement. But
mhm.
sometimes that's not a bad thing to highlight because there's nothing we can do to change that. Like if I know that for me, when inflation goes up, my wife and I we made choices of what we were going to buy, whether we're going to buy something or not. Like when our Visa card went up over a certain amount, and we're like, what the heck is going on? It's never been this high before. Like we then make
Mhm.
choices not to buy something. Like that's how we operate in our family.
No
But
more ice cream for you.
no more ice cream for my wife. And then I'm in trouble because there's not enough sugar in the house and the
Um,
chocolate. But like, this is a glaring thing that needs to be addressed. Many people believe because of the pain of inflation in the past few years. Like before the past few years, like we were all so happy. We were in like la la land. We were expecting the 2% to be like forever, right? And then all of a sudden we got kicked in the gut with all this high inflation, and now we just believe that that's what's going to happen going forward, right? You better?
Now, Serge, there is a question from Daniel. It's more about the software itself. But before we answer that, do you mind also addressing the investment profile? So there is
Okay.
current, and then there is suggested, and obviously it is based on each and every one's individual risk profile, which we analyze and go through together with our clients to
Okay.
agree on it. But
Sure. I can.
so it would be under, yeah,
So under
it's
plan assumptions, there's asset allocation as well. And for the Mark and Mary expat, we identified that they were conservative. And the way that we identified it, so there's conservative, there's very conservative. Very conservative is like bank account, GIC, something money market, not very, no much, not much, if any, stocks at all. Just safe liquid investments. Conservative, we're getting into maybe 20 to 30% stocks. Then there's moderate conservative. The more higher we go to very aggressive, aggressive and very aggressive are almost identical. We're looking at close to 100% in stocks or equity
Yeah.
markets.
Yeah.
Whether the stocks are through mutual funds or ETFs, the belief here is that if I'm aggressive, my return will be better. And that can be in a year or a short term, but it could also be very bad.
Mhm.
I've been in this industry for 25 years, and I can tell you that I've done analysis. I can even show it to you with different mutual funds that go from aggressive to conservative over time. Like I'm talking over 30 years, not 5 years or 10 years, but over 20 to 30 years. The average returns of aggressive, balanced, and conservative are all hovering around 5.5 to 6%.
Okay.
Unless you throw all your eggs in one basket, like, the US market, and then make sure you have the guts and the fortitude not to listen to what's in the news and panic and sell when things like yesterday happen, because that's what actually takes it away. The US market has done extremely well over the decades, double-digit returns, but it wasn't without some fear of, the tech bubble, the prime rate mortgage fiasco. Like there's been a lot of downs that if you took advantage of you stayed invested, don't try to time the market and bought more when it was down, then you would be much farther ahead. The reality is not a lot of people do that. Most calls I get when the market is down is should I get out?
Yeah.
Not should I, here's some more money, let's buy some more. And
So,
that's the psychology,
Serge,
right?
this is where I suppose that professionally managed pool money. But before you leave, do you mind if we put Mark and Mary into a moderate conservative under the recommended plan?
Sure, we can do that.
Just,
So
yeah.
these are the average returns that we use conservatively. You can see very aggressive. We don't even have 6%. Why? Well, we don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. Uh, and when I started when did I start? Oh my goodness. I'll say like mid 90s. We were having all sorts of fun talking about mutual funds and returns. Oh yeah, go into some American and Canadian equity funds will get you like 11%, 8, 11, 9, 10%. No, that's gone. We don't do that anymore because people understood that that's exactly what they're going to get. Reality is human psychology comes into play also, but historically, a very aggressive portfolio, if we can get 6%, this is net of fees, by the way, then that's what we should be aiming for. And if
Yeah.
we put
Very
Mark and
good.
Mary into
Not
uh,
this one, the other one, sorry. This
moderate
is
concern,
current.
yeah.
Sorry,
So,
that's current. Let's keep current
oh,
conservative, maybe. Um,
okay.
yeah, and on the right,
So where we have to change it is actually, okay,
right here, yeah.
okay, got it.
Mhm.
Uh, so now let's go back here.
Plan.
It's gone up a bit, not by much, but it's definitely helped. So these are
Mhm.
discussions that uh, it, it's another level of discussion, making sure that people understand that because the
Yeah.
risk is, and I've seen this happen again and again, even with my clients that are currently in other parts of the world, we had lots of discussion. We're okay with a minus 10% return. I understand it's a fluctuation and stuff like that. Murphy's Law happens. They sell their home, they put their million in some investment that we all agreed on after multiple discussions. It's nice, it's making some profits, and then all of a sudden, bam, there's a
Tariffs.
negative 20% decline. And then the next thing is, oh my God, what happened? What did I do? Should I get out? Should I sell? Should I this? Should I that? And no, I mean, we actually had talked about what would happen if it goes down, but emotion is a huge thing about this, especially when you're no longer in your current environment where you're comfortable, you go to work, you're making a paycheck. Now you're going to the tapas bar, right? Or something like that. And you're like wondering, oh my God, Can I still go to tapas bar? It's a big thing, right? Or you limit yourself from actually doing stuff that you wanted to do in your new country, and then all of a sudden it's not fun anymore. So it's this is one of the most important foundational parts about talking about, listen, if you have enough money that you don't have to worry about investing, kudos for you or bully for you, whatever the expression is. That's great. Put in some GIC, get your 2 or 3%. You don't worry about legacy or leaving something to the kids. Perfect. You're going to have more than enough, and you're going to have, we're not all in that situation. So, foundational is if we can get enough to pay your monthly income needs from Canada Pension Plan, old age security, a company pension, whatever else, that's great. Now everything else is icing on the top. And even for Mark and Mary Expat, we have exactly that, right? So we've gone and said, well, they currently have these incomes, but in their pensions, they went to the CRA and they figured out this is what they're going to get. And we have the retirement date set here, not age 65, because retirement date in here, we have the retirement goals age 60. So this automatically puts that in, but in the pensions part, we also know that Mark has a pension that he identified of 2,500 a month. They're pretty good. Like they got a lot of money coming in just from pensions. So they have a lot that they can work with. There was a question about the software before I forget.
Yes, yes. Daniel is asking, and Daniel, that's a tricky question. So you're asking any suggestion regarding planning software for do-it-yourselfers? I
No,
found few that look good, but not sure which one would be good choice. The one you use, which is Conquest, indeed, is great, but they won't sell license to individuals, only to planners like yourself. Absolutely correct. There is no way you will be able to access the
um,
software yourself. But
no,
the
I mean,
beauty is, yeah, go ahead,
and
sir.
this is why you need to take advantage of our offer because you're not going to get it from other financial planners. Like honestly, I would love for everybody to be a client if it makes sense for you and if it makes sense for us. So because you're a part of this masterclass, we will willingly give up our time to put together, let's say not a full-fledged plan, but at least something that's a basic draft for you to see the power of this. And then you
Yes.
can take it away and move on with it in your life, or you can decide to work with us. There's no requirement to do so. We do this every day. So if it's not like a lot of man or woman hours to say we're going to spend like 20 hours on this, which can sometimes happen, if it's simply filling out that that form,
Mhm.
this one here, um, you know, don't waste our time and not give us full information, I guess. I don't want to say we want to do this for free and just to run the calculator mode. But if you're serious and want to get a report, which I'm going to show you, fill this out, send it in to us,
Mhm.
and we'll plug in the numbers into the data. We'll have a meeting with you for 30 minutes. We'll go through it all together, and then we'll spit out a report, and you can go on your merry way. Does
And
that answer the
that
question?
probably, I don't know. Daniel says yes. However, Daniel, another pivotal point is when we work on these plans for clients, the clients actually have access to the software through their online portal where they access their investments, and they can also access this planning software where they can, there is a section called Sandbox. Clients can actually play and change, let's say, retirement date, or maybe say, I don't want to wait till age 70 to claim my CPP and I'd like to claim it at 67. Maybe I will wait 2 years. Where does it put me, my planning wise? So there you go. Serge is actually showing where we grant access to our clients for accessing the plan online and playing. You cannot delete the major concepts that we worked on, so you cannot really screw it up, but you can definitely have a playtime with this plan. And then if you want to implement any changes, usually then we would work together further.
Yeah. So again,
Okay.
by no means, some of you are already further along the process. You've already made your plans. That's fine. You don't have to do this. But if you do want to have a second set of eyes, this is our offer to you. No questions asked. So what you see here is, and by the way, if it is a complicated plan, we do involve our advanced financial planning just to take a once over because this is a heavy duty piece of software. Daniel just said you can't get a license because it costs millions of dollars.
That's
And it's actually, we were the first to use it at IG. We were the first investors in it. And now it's actually, licenses are being sold to RBCs of the world, Edward Jones of the world. I don't know. Every other company is now getting on the bandwagon. So this is a pretty powerful software. We've got the full version of it, which includes insurance. We added insurance for Mark and Mary Expat in this as well because they have kids and they didn't think about it. Well, when I stop working, my 250,000 insurance is not going to be there anymore unless I pay for it. It's going to be expensive. Well, we said, Mark, Mary, you're still young. What if you get hit by a bus in Spain? What's going to happen to your kids? Oh, yeah. Well, we're going to give them everything, but by the way, maybe we should have some insurance in place too.
And just also another note, many of us do own corporations or are corporation holders, so-called uh, um, Corpco and Holdco. So here is a section that we also can incorporate information about the corporations. The beauty of it is that software will help us calculate the taxable amounts. And
Yeah.
once again, to benefit our retirement plan, it will be all incorporated. So this is mind blowing. It would be difficult for one to do it on paper with Excel sheet. Let me tell you that. So it's the tax knowledge, which is never ending story, was our loss and what's changing. The 66% capital gains tax now deferred to January 1st, 2026. Well, before that, we started planning with some clients for it as well. And there are many rules that we are aware that not necessarily whilst we are sipping wine or whatever drinks we drink in Spain that we are aware of it. So that is another benefit of working with a professional. Okay, back to you,
Cool.
sir.
All right. So then basically, we're at the review stage and we check to see if there's any issues with the plan. The software will check that out. We've also vetted it with head office. And now we've confirmed it with the clients. We have some we have some goals that we've agreed to with the clients. We have dates of when the goals will happen. So we found out that there's a pre-retirement, there's a shortfall of $8,800. So we've basically covering that shortfall from the joint non-registered. All these little details are here listed in the plan, and there'll be a sheet in the actual result to show, okay, here's what we do. It's almost like going to the gym, right? It's like, okay, I want to lose weight. And you meet with a gym consultant. Usually they're like 30 years younger than you are, and you wonder if they would know what they're doing or not, but they seem to impress you. And then they tell you, okay, well, here's your goal. You got to do this, and you got to do this, and you got to do this. Well, now it's still up to you to do it, right? You still got to go in and do the reps. And if you pay extra, they'll actually watch you do them and make you check it off. Like we don't charge extra for that part. Actually, we don't. There's no extra amount we can charge, but we say here's what you got to do, and then if you want, we do regular checks like every quarter, every 6 months, minimum once a year. Otherwise, don't even like why even work with someone if you're not gonna follow up with it, right? So minimum once a year. Hey, how's it going, Mark? How's life in Spain? Great. So, did you save that money? Did you do what we talked about? How's it going? Oh, yeah, well, things have changed. We were doing, but basically it's a check-in. It's a health check for the financial plan. So then we are going to present the plan, and I'm not going to present you like this is what we usually present page by page, having that discussion, explaining everything. There's like 45 pages here, so I'm not going to spend the last 15 minutes that we have here going through every single page. Suffice to say, it's an opportunity for discussion to figure out where all the it's a bit slow, it's lagging here. Uh, it shows where the money, the net worth, confirming everything again. Lots of really healthy information in all this. So I'm not going to go through that because, like I said, it's really long. But we do want to show you the report that we basically hand out. And in this report, There's going to be the basic stuff. I think I showed it a couple of weeks ago. I'm waiting for all this to generate here. And guys, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but what really came out to me in this session last Tuesday was that nobody focused on this. But all the high net worth people in the room approached me and said, that's exactly what everybody has to focus on. Because getting a simple answer for a residency, now you know. How does it all go in? And that's why I'm hammering on this because it's one of those like ethereal kind of idea to, yeah, it's a good thing, but why don't you just do it and figure it out along the way? Well, there might be gaps that you're not aware of. And so I want to apologize if I'm a little bit pushing on this, but it's really, really important. So you get your disclaimer. We have our disclaimers. Hey, don't believe everything we said, kind of thing. Well, no. It's just basically saying we're basing on the value, the quality of the data that you've given us. If it's bad data, I wanted to swear it's going to be bad outputs. So good data, good outputs. Then we have the assumptions. There's that inflation rate, that assumption rate. Further down, we're going to show you what the stress test looks like. Then we go through the financial goals, reminding everybody what we're looking to do. This is why we're looking. It's really for a partnership. It's not really like a service like do 1 + 1 is 2. It's really getting to know the clients. And from here, if any of these are lacking, either the client knows about it and they're okay with it, or we've implemented another recommendation. Maybe they retire 1 year later because they need to help the kid with the last year of education, right? These are choices that can be made once you know what the data is. And it's so amazing just to have everything on a piece of paper, like in front of you to say, oh, I thought I was good and I am good, actually. It's actually shown to me by math. It's pretty cool. This chart shows cash flow, and this huge line right here is because of the sale of the house in that year, right? So um, it's giving a nice breakdown of everything, uh, up to including death. What's going to be left when you guys die? All right, so um, I'm
That's
gonna
how we
stop.
figure out the insurance amount. Usually we try to
Yeah,
cover that
yeah.
amount
So
as
insurance.
insurance.
So Yvette is really good at the insurance side. I'm with the investments. We're both insurance licensed, but there's different types of insurance. I don't think we really hit that so much. We did talk about the importance of insurance. I mean, you can use insurance for a saving tool, for tax-free money for the estate when you die, or it could be a very cheap short-term tool like a term insurance to cover the cost of a mortgage. Um, the one that's for the life is more expensive, but as long as you keep on paying the premium, it'll be there when you die. The cheaper one, the term insurance, doesn't accumulate anything, but it's pennies to the dollar, to the amount that you pay on permanent, but it's to cover like a certain period of time. So, for example, for Mark and Mary Expat, if they just want to have a very cheap term insurance to cover a couple of $100,000 if they die in the next 20 years, knowing that there's still going to be a legacy of the how of the properties and their investments, and they just want to have a little bit of extra, they can do that. If they want to have something more robust, then it's going to cost a bit more. They wouldn't be able to get maybe like 500,000 in. Let me see if I can actually find that. There's
Well,
a
but sorry, Serge. This is a great slide. Just go back for a second. Do you see, guys, the final bill? The net estate and final taxes of 434,000.
yeah. So under the yeah. So basically, here's the funny part. The net estate under the current plan with no recommendations is 1.16. So the taxes are only 349. Now, the taxes are higher with the recommended, but the estate is a lot bigger too.
Yeah.
So it's a bigger estate you're leaving behind. Obviously, the taxes are going to be a bit more.
So 434,000 is joint last to die life insurance policy that the couple should have to cover the tax bill if they want to keep the money for the kids or
Correct.
a
And
donation.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's right. So the and these are again things that come out. If you're leaving tomorrow to move to Spain, this can't be done,
No.
unfortunately.
No.
If you've got a year, 6 months, we're talking with someone that's right now planning to leave in a shorter than a 6 month period, but there's enough time to work on this and plan it out.
And
But
not
the
even that. Sorry, Sergio, I'll
yeah,
interrupt very quickly. There is an individual who is planning to leave Canada, but he does not want to sell his RSPs due to the tax. Hence, the investment is going to stay here
yeah,
and he won't touch it. He will let it accumulate and grow, and he will not touch it till he retires. So you see, there is that planning aspect as well. Because if you pull out your 3, 4, 500,000 from RSP, well, half of it is going to go in taxes. So what's the point?
yeah.
So that's where the calculation should come. This is a fantastic retirement paycheck, very valuable slide.
Yeah, so this shows in black and white with the basis of so taking money out of the higher tax amounts, leaving the CPP and the old age security to later. Underline again, the old age security, don't forget, you won't get old age security following you if you're not 20 years in Canada at least to follow you around the world. So if you're less than 20 years in Canada, that old age security is going to stop after 6 months. And then you have to come back to get it restarted. But CPP won't stop. That'll continue on and that'll follow you. Uh, but so this is basically saying, let's get the registered money out, the RSPs, the TFSAs, all that stuff. Actually, the TFSA is in this column, and looks like we've already cashed it out because it's not here. I
Mhm.
remember. We used the TFSA to help purchase the property in
In
Spain.
Spain.
That was what we
Hmm.
were doing.
Hmm.
But then after about age 65, we start getting from the non-registered, and then you see at age 70 kicks in the CPP, old age security, and off we go until age 90, which there's still money left over even then for the scenario. And here's the what if scenarios. If inflation is higher, without recommendations, we're down to 77% of the full goal. And with recommendations, it's at 88%. Still not 100%, but a lot better than that one. All right. Anything else you want to add, Yvetta?
Uh, no, I think I interrupted you enough.
Well,
Guys, you,
we got a clap from Daniel, so I guess that answered his question.
yeah.
Guys, next, thank you so much. We got one class left. We're thinking next class we will do part of it as an open Q&A, which we won't record. So get your questions ready. We'll also make sure that we've got prepared for you all of the names and all the emails and all the contacts of all the experts. A little bit more information for you to check out, links, and we'll have fun on the last class. For that, we're finished. We got 5 minutes left. And I'm gonna just say goodnight so I can end the video, but I'll stop sharing and then stop recording, and then we can all unmute if you want to talk.
Mm, wonderful.